detail as to what's going on.
On from Crowcrowd, slowly stepping it up, but Ents could be the ones that come out on top. They get rid of Gemty, but oh no, Timmy and the cross there, truthfully caught in the open. It's a 2-on-2.
That cross was so haphazard. Rustamar is banking on them, not expecting this off angle from him. Mika's going to try and get the attention for this, and now we have to see Rustamar deliver. And well, he almost missed the first, but he makes it up, and the trade comes back in from Temi. And wait, he adjusted so well.
Wow. Made it into the north side of Pachinki. Apologies if it's going fast because the game is matching that pace at the moment. It is crazy.
The nade is phenomenal. That's found 2 events and that's completely cut them off at the knees. And look at the push from Tixu. This man does not need an excuse to be aggressive. He loves a bit of it. Rustamar is holding back at a deeper angle, spots another victim, and the beast strikes. Tixu is so good at the moment. That's 3 kills, completely shutting down.
The caliber of teams stepping up in phase 3. This is what we're talking about. You've got Desperados, N47, you know. These Jimmy! Oh my word! Oh, Misa got the last one, but my god, Desperados are running out for an AP because the second that Yanis goes down, it opens it up for the rest of Crowcrowd to come flooding around the corner.
Here it comes.
Yanis has already eaten the blue. Misa going for the spray through. That was a big hit, but Miraku will go down. Yanis is finished off. The rest of Crowcrowd can come in. It's a 4v2. Gaxi's trying to get as close as he can. Knew they put a bit of damage onto Misa, lit him up, but it wasn't enough. And now look at this, Timmy and Co all coming across.
That's the one thing. That's why Gaxi's dangerous. He can't actually see that ridge line at all. Spraying in, hoping for the best. It looks like Crowcrowd are on the verge, as Gaxi can do the damage now. Now the position's noted, you feel he's run out of options, and Nookie's got the angle. The spray comes in, Temi puts down Miraku. It's down to MBS and Gaxi here.
Not a lot they can do from this angle. It's looking like a simple execution.
너무 들쭉날쭉한 경기력을 보여주고 있어서 어우! 야, 이거 앞으로 맞아. 이기 위해서 네, 거의 뭐 500m 가량 되는 그런 거리에서 성공을 해냈어요. 자기장은 중심에서 살짝 서쪽으로 잡혔습니다.
나레이터도 슬슬 살아나는 건가라는 생각이 들어요.
그렇습니다. 들어가서 여기서 마무리까지 짓고 자신감이 부쩍 올라갔다는 생각이 들었거든요. 지난주 토요일은
경로를 계속 생각하고 있는 상황이거든요.
이렇게 되면
이거는 제대로 당했네요.
네. 디토네이터. 오, 이스코가 하나 백업해주고 3대5. 7발. 지금
디토네이터.
히카리 하고 있어요. 히카리 근데 이배율.
근데 이거는 히카리가 이미 회복을 했는데요. 히카리.
회복한 히카리가 이겼어요. 또 들어갔어요. 자, 그리고 이거 굉장히 어려운 상황이 됐습니다. 인디고 선수도 기절 위에서 잘 쏴요. 자, 2명 기절. 와. 아포5 국대의 위험을 한 번 더 보여줍니다. 와, 3명째. 디토네이터 다시 한번 일어섭니까? 찍어 눌러줘야죠. 네. 비키네요. 잠깐 기다시키고. 자, 한명 더 있어. 우르사. 그리고 봤어요. 디토네이터. 그동안에 아쉬웠던 게 많은 우르사 선수가요. 네. 오늘 슈퍼 플레이를 보여줬습니다. 그렇습니다. 정말 디토네이터 입장에서는 정말 천국 같은 치킨을 맞습니다. 맞습니다. 나 위키드 오늘 기피코 치킨 없어요. 안 올라갑니다. 이 자리로 치킨까지 갑니다. 디토네이터. 혼자 다 정리했어요.
推到了蓝圈的外围，
看给不给分了？
还是要刚一波正面，恭喜学院。
只有这一颗雷才能起到破点的效果，而且形成人数上的比较接近的平衡。一颗雷下来没有产生有效的伤害，而且伊德是把老局给放倒了。博良1打4、1打3能不能成功？
我要是博良，我会选择先走，但是他走不了了。
是，
他离队友实在是太远了，他这一波散开的太早，因为这个圈型还没有完全的。
的南部 ARK 的博雅是已经浸泡在蓝圈当中，
没掩体，而且龙已经倒地了，啊，没什么急，刚上车，
漂亮，炸下来一个，而且九飞飞开着一辆烈焰战车，
冒火了，
补一枪直接结束。
And we are back for the next 2 games. My name is Matcham, joined by Forsource, and we are ready to get everything kicked off. Got a little bit of information to go over, but this just feels so right. I know.
This is kind of comfortable.
Feels, it's been so long. I missed you so much, man.
I missed you too.
But yes, Moro and I reunited back to do some casting in the OGN Super Arena. We're going to be going through another Erangel game and then over towards Sandhawk, but it's been pretty feisty to get the day started today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you come into today and you kind of expected to see a couple of teams put on a show. So far, it's been the 4 a.m. and the TSM show, but you got to give credit to Sting Divine and Sun Sister, maybe punching a little bit above their weight class right now, but they're looking like they belong.
I mean, we saw so many interesting points in that push-up where we saw Lazarus and Liquid just drive right up on top of each other. It was like a Mad Max scene where they just jumped out guns a-blazing. Somebody was just yelling, "Witness me" at the top of their lungs as they were going there. But I mean, huge shout out to where we're seeing a lot of aggression. I want to say that's kind of the theme. Yesterday, these teams that are going for at least 4 or 5 points off of kills and then whatever placement they can get next, that seems to be the ones that are performing well and moving up the leaderboard in these 6-game days.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it yesterday. We saw it from Gen G in the last game. You know, it takes bravery. It takes that courage to put yourself out there to take those high-risk, high-reward type plays if you're going to make it to where you don't have to play on Sunday. And, you know, for the teams that we see at the bottom of the leaderboard right now, some of them may be a little bit more surprising than others. Cough, cough, Liquid cough. Erangel is not the end of the world. All right, we saw it yesterday. You can have a bad Erangel day, or you can have a bad Miramar day. You can't.
But it
have
makes
both.
it so much harder.
It does. It
like,
does.
You need to get all like 30. What it was 38 points was the cutoff yesterday.
Yeah.
That means that you have to get it in like 2 games, and that is so hard. But the plane is up and in the air, and we're moving into our last Erangel match of the day. And let's see if it maintains that spicy nature that we saw last time around. Plane path coming up from the north, back down towards the south. Have pretty much everything on the table if you want to go for the drops. But I know we're going to be keeping an eye over towards Pachinki because that's where a lot of the fun has been occurring.
Yeah, indeed. And we saw Liquid pull off a little bit towards the north here in game number 1, and game number 2 deciding to fight a little bit closer to Pachinki. We'll see where they decide to go this time around. Looks like Genesis still has no reason to want to pull off of where they've been dropping. And just Force as well feels comfortable, but that is a lot of names right there.
That is a Crow Crowd member right on top of that. Are they going? Is he going over and potentially going to steal away one of those vehicles along that road? Is that his goal that he's going for? Atletico kind of mixing it up with Liquid as they're going for the drops. Everybody's kind of fighting over vehicles. Once you move into this area, it gets a lot more difficult. So everybody's wanting to claim those as early as they can. See EB hitting the ground, going for the roll. Going to get picked up probably by Empty there. But now we've got Genesis making their drop as well as Force fairly separated out. Wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of friendly off the get-go when already getting that vehicle and getting under control.
Yeah, both Genesis and Force playing this really, really carefully, playing it close to the vest, not overextending. You see a couple of shots being traded back and forth. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Let's take
right
it.
there. Move it back down towards military. Make it spicy for me. Make it evil. I want to see these guys sweat.
And of course, it had to be in game number 3, our last game here on Erangel before heading over to Sandhawk. We're going to see the Wicked's already making his way over there, but
I got such a big kick out of that.
You got a big old smile
you
on
heard
your
like
face here.
all of the audience being like, yeah, and you heard all the players be like, oh, at the exact same time. So easy rotations for the teams that were playing back down towards the south and were the late droppers based off the plane path. But teams way up towards the north, like Sun Sister, they're going to have a trek ahead of them.
Look at AFF Lambu. Actually, AFF with a really late drop here. Looks like they might actually be long stretching it over to Novo to get a foothold early off. I mean, we know that TSM in Milta. But yeah, eyes right now on 4 a.m.
So with
currently
this,
leading the lobby.
do we still call them 4 angry men? With the amount of votes, I feel like we need to call them like 500,000 angry men at this point. They are just getting so many votes on these PGC's pick'ems. But AFF slow dropping back over here.
It's almost 3 minutes into the game and Lambo's still in his parachute.
Hey, he's just wanting to take in the scenery. I mean, you know, whenever you come to LA, you got to take in the sights.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He is taking it in. He is going to be joined up by his squad mate and just off to their west, we can see Michael making his way over to secure TSM a foothold.
I like that.
At the intersection. Yeah, I like the aggressive behavior here, the foresight here from TSM to start making their move over even before they finish the looting up in Milta.
So most of the teams are going to be making the gamble that it's going to be going towards military base. We have seen it end on bridges sometimes with circles. Oh, close to bridges. They can't end on bridges.
Man, how evil are you?
That evil.
Yes.
I mean, I'm that guy, but you can see TSM, they're still up in Milta with 3, but they did send Michael back down south across the bridge to go ahead and claim that crossroads location, which can be quite strong, especially if you're trying to get kills. Most people are going to try to avoid the bridge as much as possible, but there's always going to be that one team that gets caught on the other side and eventually has to make that push over.
Yeah, it's not like we're above bridge camping here at the PGC group stages. We saw
No one is above
T1
it.
pull that off in Sanok yesterday, so see if Sanyang actually making a move over here, seeing if he can maybe get a cheeky couple of shots into Genesis. The shots are coming out. Going to land a couple, but not going to be enough to get the down, and Genesis getting on out of dodge.
This is very common for them. They like to rotate very, very early, force them to be a little bit latecomer inside that.
It's 2 cars, too.
Yeah. I mean,
that might be why Force was pushing the issue.
I mean, with the amount of teams that have been dropping in this location now, since Team Liquid is playing a little bit further towards the north, that makes cars a lot more of a commodity for anybody that's around that Pachinki area, because we did see also Crow Crowd taking a vehicle off on that western side, so that's just going to make it more difficult for Force to make their way through this.
Take a look at the boys from Latin America. W-Click currently sitting in 14th place. They need a good game here. They've already made their way to the beachhead. TSM going to be joining up with the rest of their squad. Michael actually has abandoned the intersection and headed in towards the military base. So TSM maybe deciding to opting to play from a different position here.
There are a lot of strong positions you can play back down towards the southern part of military base. That's no surprise. Alo making the trek over here on the boat. Fun fact is he's the only one in that boat. Everybody else is still around Yasnaya right now, so I think he's trying to secure it. Everybody else is going to grab a vehicle real fast and probably meet him along the coast, maybe around Lippo, but the way he's moving, I don't even know if that's going to be the strategy.
Yeah, he's definitely out in the middle of nowhere. Rumblers, meanwhile, have gathered here in Lipovka, found the one boat, and they're going to start their trek.
We're just going to go ahead and do a full Navy battle.
Yeah,
looks like everybody's just going to be in boats this game, cutting across here. Another boat. That's kind of the theme right now, but that means every single time one of these boats drops away, it's going to make it much harder to cross that canal that's north of military base. So this is vital information. I love the fact that we're seeing every single boat that's getting claimed, because these late teams in rotation are just going to have less resources, and it's going to make it much more difficult. They're going to have to make some hard choices on how to handle the circuit.
Already worth noting that Sun Sister looks like they might have come up just behind Lazarus and not have found a boat. So Alo managed to get the one that was up there. We check on Genesis, making their way across the bridge. W-Click not in position just yet, but Detonator already has a nice 2-1-1 split here. They got 2 at the intersection at the...
And we also have W-Click that has moved into a position on that hill. So that's going to be 2 different teams that, if anybody goes across that western bridge, have to contend with. So Genesis early rotation out of Pachinki paying off big for them, as nobody was really set up yet to full defend that point.
And they still got left with a pretty decent location to hold here with the hillside just to the west of that bridge. We'll check in with 4 a.m. as they made their way across. AHQ, they're going to find a boat in Primorsk, and they're going to go 4 deep. They do have Crow Crowd making their way around just on the other side of the coast, though, so have to be careful. TSM has actually already made their way all the way to the southern part of the island, so not really sure what TSM wants to do. Sun Sister.
We got Sun Sister holding the angle back. We talked about the fact that one of their members from Lazarus is already inside of a boat. That's a tire going out. That's going to spin out the UAZ. Shots are now coming out from Gabba, trying to get more damage. Uncivil's going to go down, but Gabba takes a lot. Purdy Curdy's trying to provide some form of cover for his teammate. Get some covering fire off this. Kandescu going for the reposition off of it. Gabba still going for the shots on it. Low on life. Trying to find the angle, but the UAZ eats the bullet. This is very difficult. Nice shots coming out from Purdy, but he is so low at this point. It is very, very dangerous. Smokes are now starting to come out from from Lazarus, but Sun Sister, Lazarus both have to be so careful. The blue's coming in. Purdy is in a lot of trouble with this. He does manage to get off the first 8, but Civ does go down.
Yeah, meanwhile, the rest of Lazarus are all in boats. They're bailing on this. They're trying to get into the next circle. The car's on fire. Will it be enough to blow it up? No, Shan. It's going to go ahead and get the down, and that's Curdy down. And once again, Lazarus losing some early. Now they have managed to make their way to late game and collect quite a few points, even with losing some early. So,
and here's Luke just hanging out, waiting for the, I guess, boat Uber to come around, as Alo's going to be approaching in just a second. But the problem that I see with that is Sun Sister stayed for that fight. They're now out inside the blue. This is a very hard circle to rotate in, and that's going to make it very problematic for them. They're just going to have to be done. They just have leftovers at this point as far as terrain goes. They probably are just going to go ahead and stay on the main island itself and not push down towards military base.
Yeah, I would imagine. They don't have a boat. They still have all four have vehicles, and they just got a nice little influx of meds. So they've got some time to eat that blue. So we check in with the Crow Crowd boys. Happy birthday to that organization, by the way. They released a tweet earlier today saying that this is their actual birthday. So hopefully we see the Crow Crowd boys turn something around here. Not having the best days so far, but as we said, there's still plenty of time.
And this is a big problem, I want to point out, with a lot of these teams that grab boats late, since the early boats and rotations came in being a big factor in this. There's a lot of these teams like TSM that are playing along this coastline, just on the hunt for people in boats, trying to get something out of it. There's also a little bit of congestion up on that western bridge. As you can see, it's Team Liquid. New circle pops. We are going military base, and it's going to be pretty violent. Looks like Force could find themselves in a really bad spot.
Look at the split coming out from TSM, though. They have 3 on the southern coast, and they've sent Rory to the middle to secure a compound. So I imagine that we'll see the TSM boys probably make their way in towards that compound here shortly. Yeah, Michael already in vehicle.
Oh, like QAM, this is not where you want to be going right now. 4AM has the trap set. Bullets starting flying on both sides of it. You see vehicles starting to bounce into each other. Easy's in a little bit of trouble as he does spin out just a touch. Damage coming through. Look at that. 4AM gets run over. QM is just cutting through this thing. No, we want nothing to do with it. We're out of here.
Such a good camp set up, and in the end, they don't really get much for it. They get 1 down, and now they're going to have to turn around and get the fight going, but we'll check in with Liquid. W-Click pushing right on top. It looks like Ragnar is going to pull off of this. 4 Angry Men still taking shots at Ease.
They're quite angry right now. They want some vengeance back on that one. That was supposed to be their kill, and instead they get somebody knocked off of this. So position comes in. Easy did stop over next to 4 Angry Men, as well as the remnants of Lazarus in a similar position from this. Who's taking some long-range shots at him, still at range, connecting with it. Gonna at least make his life very hellacious and gonna have to drop down to his belly. Is he gonna be able to connect with this shot? It's just continuing tap. He has to use smoke and utility now. Waldo's now also on a hunt for Easy off of this. A little bit of damage back and forth.
Yeah, the Rumblers boys came in from the south side of Novo. Looks like they've managed to come up and see Easy here. Nobody, no other lines of sight here. I don't know if they realize that this is basically a 4v1.
QM got the moral victory of making it across the bridge, but having to cut through 4AM separated them to the 4 corners of this island. So it's a lot of 1v4 fights that they're having to contend with. Easy's not having the easiest life right now as Waldo's still holding down. I think Cherry Poppin's starting to figure out, hey, there's only 1 guy shooting us, so let's just go for a high reposition off of this, and there's going to be nowhere for Easy to hide. Shots are now coming through. You can see the blue as well. Doesn't actually connect with that, so it looks like he's going to go ahead and pull away from this, get into a different position off of it.
Yeah, this is taking Rumblers way too long to deal with this problem. They have the positioning right. They did send Cherry up top. They sent Waldo down low, but no joy just yet. As Layla's going to try to find Forever, but Forever's going to get the better of him there.
4 Angry Men continuing their killing spree. These guys have been so violent in the early games. Waldo's still trying to take down Easy. Finally does manage to get it. Gonna go ahead and flush that out. But Rumblers on the tail end of this rotation as well. We mentioned it earlier with Sun Sister. Whenever you're on the tail end of this due to a long fight, that's very problematic for your rotation.
2 hours later, Rumblers finally finishes off that fight. 4 AM, as you said, already in vehicles making their way in. Sun Sister finally making their way across the bridge. They still have 4 strong. They're running right past Luke. Luke, he's all on foot. Yeah, he's just trying to stay alive here. I believe he might be he's the last one up here now for Lazarus once again. So trying to see if we can make it a little bit further here.
Okendesu.
Sun Sister
Gotta be very careful. Down to 5 life. Runs over next to 4 angry men, and those guys are real mad right now. Still shots coming through. Can he manage to make it through it? No, he does get dropped off that motorcycle, so that's gonna be 1 down. Sun Sister now has to readjust off of that. Has to be cautious, but Luke's gonna catch out another one. That's 2 members of Sun Sister down.
I mentioned that Sun Sister might have been punching a little bit above their weight class in game number 2, and it looks like it's playing out not as much in their favor this time around. Rumbler is going to get a little bit fortunate, make it past the Crow crowd as the new circle has popped, and we are going far, far west again, about 30%, maybe 40% at most playable here.
Still so much water inside of this, and it's also a very interesting point to play. There's that big hill that's just to the west of the military base. Crazy Sam finding himself in trouble. 4Am's going to go ahead and get that one as well. Sun Sister still reeling off of that late rotation, now down to just 1. Rumblers do manage to go ahead and stop around these airplanes that are wrecked off to the side of it, but everything's still further ahead. They are not yet inside the safe zone, so I guess they're just regrouping at that point.
See the rest of Athletico making their way across the water. They've already got Flood securing the compound for themselves, so nice little come up for them. Surprising that that compound that is actually pretty much dead center of this circle was still unoccupied at this point.
There's a lot of splits that are going on in the circle right now, and with 55 people still alive. Oh, Ibiza gets spotted out. Vehicle's now rolling back down. James has to be very careful about that as he's looking back and forth. There's a lot of players at W click on this. You can see reinforcements from Team Liquid are coming around one side of it. Zilzin's trying to get the outside push on this, but EB does go down to the grenade. Zilzin trying to play low ground. As you can see, Team Liquid trying to hold the high ground. EB's just trying to get, EB's dead at this point. It's James that's trying to find the right angle for it, but it's all about W click. Playing around these trees has to be so careful.
Oh, and Genesis now going to get involved as well. It took a little bit of time for the Twins to come up over the top, Samty and Jempty, to provide James a little support, but that's going to be Indigo from range, getting both shots on both of those players. James now the last remaining player for Liquid as their struggles on Erangel continue.
And remember, it was Liquid that was gatekeeping out Force on this bridge, so Force is coming in late to this, but that provided the perfect angle to do so much damage at Team Liquid right now. We have W click with so many members up and alive. James is just trying to figure out, okay, where do I go? He's got a couple, got one last smoke that he can use, but you can hear bullets are just landing down around him. He's getting shot from so many different angles right now.
8 health left. He does manage to get the heal off. Going to try to run up here. It looks like Jempty is going to bleed out. And the shot, can he break the line of sight? Nope. Harold's going to come up over the top and find him, and that's Liquid out in 15th place.
Force in no rush now, playing the high part of the bridge and the low part of the bridge, trying to get a little bit more control over the situation. Long range shots just connecting with W click, as well as Low spotting out one of the members of 4 Angry Men. Going to go ahead and flush out Forever, and that's actually going to be a couple of shots going back and forth between them, as now 4 Angry Men only has 2 members up. Rumblers have the inside track, and 4 Angry Men isn't inside the safe zone yet. They have that little bit of a wall they can play, but that's just a death trap if they have to stay there.
Yeah, Southside's been going a little bit nuts here. Crow crowd, you can see, was also coming around to get involved in that fight as well, but we're going to cut back to the north on the bridge. Silzen is going to get taken down by Xiao Yang. This is a good fight for Entis Force coming in here, and we see the circle has popped again, and Genesis now coming over the top, maybe feeding off of all of this.
They're back behind this. They're looking back down towards Force as well as W click. They have the high ground, but they have to be so cautious on those peaks. Indigo is still making his way across the bridge. The other members are just trying to get any form of cover they can, so Force slow creeping around this. We do have Doya that's trying to make the cross off the side, but Kale does get spotted out. Got W click's Ribok still alive, taking the shots back down towards Doya. He is the last member, but he is going to get it down off of this. He's kind of holding the line for Genesis on the low ground right now, and Force is finding themselves in a lot of trouble. There's not a lot of terrain to play around, and they are not inside the safe zone. They have to push this direction.
Heck of a shot by Rybo there, and that's going to do it for W click. Now Entis Force can turn their full attention onto Genesis, but at this point it might be too late.
Detonator's coming off the side of this. Look, Wicked is creeping up back behind Genesis. We see that they like to play this style. They like to get aggressive, separate out, get as much information as they can. They have another person playing that other hillside. So every time Genesis gets a little bit more aggressive on this, they have to be cautious. Wicked still playing around this, trying to locate where are the shots coming from. Nerf. I think he's got an idea something could be going on. Wicked does spot, take a couple of shots, gets it down on one of the Genesis members. So now Nerf trying to figure out, okay, how do we recoil from this? We've got Force back behind us, and now we have Detonator on the other side. They're getting pincered in the trap that they set up themselves.
All right, cutting back down to the south. You can see TSM is taking the shots at 4 a.m. as they try to make their way across the street. But you got to figure at this point it's either going to be Rumblers or TSM picking this up. They actually make it into this building, get down on the wall though, but that's going to be it. Cherry popping, picking up 2. That's 6 kills for Rumblers. They coming alive here on the south side.
We got plenty of Rumblers still inside this game. I wonder if there's any of them in chat right now, but we do have Force that's still trying to creep up along the side. You can see Genesis has said, okay, this is too hot. They backed away. Force now has a little bit more space to play around, but look at these shots coming out from Indigo on this. This is so far away. He's still on the bridge. Look at the map right now, and he's just laying into Samty.
Just
and
absolutely
filthy.
Absolutely filthy, but great shots. Unfortunately for the Liquid boys, that means that their day on Erangel is over. Check back and see Rumblers now pushing up over the top. They're going to find QM, and that's another team dead in front of the Rumblers.
Rumblers are just walking across the southern part of the circle and killing every single thing that they encounter. And I gotta say, they're racking up a ton of points. That's gonna do so much for them inside this leaderboard. But up towards the north, it's still very contested. We haven't necessarily seen the Freaks be very active yet as of the stage. They're playing back down towards the south, and nobody's really contested that area yet. But you can see it's all about what's going on up in the north right now. Genesis couldn't move too far away from their earlier position, so it has to be very cautious.
This is kind of vintage Fatal, though. They do like to kind of hang out, play it close to the vest. A little bit slower towards the early game, but then come late game, they start to come alive as you can start seeing they're making their moves towards the Rumblers. Check back on the north side here. Endorse Force making their way into circle. K-Mind has a nice little angle here on the Xiangyang.
But that's the tail end. That's the tail end of the Force push on this angle. K-Mine's down on the lower part of this hill all by himself, and that's the angle that Force is wanting to go for. Everybody else from Genesis doesn't have the easiest rotation back to provide much support, and with the hills, those 3 members of Force could just come back up right onto K-Mine and make this a 3v1. New circle pops, and it's going to favor Atletico, AHQ, and Sting Divine. So a lot of these teams that are playing on the outside walls are going to have to make their way even further west.
All right, Endorse Force does use Songjang. Doya now has moved up a little bit closer to the K-Mine compound. Nerf was providing him a little bit of support here. Detonator has not made a push to provide any or put any pressure onto Genesis just yet, but we're going to check back with the Rumblers fight. As we said, a Freak of Freaks Fatal starting to come alive, pushing into this circle from the south side.
They have the inside track on Rumblers right now. Rumblers has to figure out how they want to adapt around this. They've been killing a ton of teams by being the team that's getting ahead of them.
TSM.
Now, TSM joining in the party as well. Force still trying to make that push back over towards K-Mine, but he did get the drop on Doya, so that's going to go ahead and provide him a little bit more space. But Nerf is down as well. Profi's just trying to run back over towards the smokes, get the res. Indigo still holding that outside angle, and Detonator is still hearing this, and they have to walk along the same path.
Should be able to get that res, though. Indigo has to leave this tree side here. K-Mine has a nice little line of sight on him. Only 21 health. Yep, and that's going to do it for Endorse Force. Genesis coming up with the win there, but Detonator has now repositioned to gatekeep this squad out.
So it's going to be very difficult for Genesis to make this push across. They've denied a lot of cover with that reposition from Detonator, so Detonator just has clean sight lines back, but K-Mine taking the shots back on that similar angle. Freaks still trying to hold out TSM and Rumblers, as Rumblers are just trying to take shots at TSM in their rotation. They're down to 2 right now. Los gets dropped as well, so now it's just Cherry Poppins that's holding that outside position. Freaks are still just trying to get inside the circle and try to gatekeep out TSM off of this position, and they're kind of separated out. They keep hearing the firefight more down towards the south, so TSM's moving around towards the north.
And there goes Genesis. As we said, picked off by Detonator. Detonator still 4 strong. They have great positioning. TSM going to try to wrap around this. A Freak of Freaks Fatal not wanting to over peak this. They don't want to lose any for free, but in doing so, they've kind of lost track of TSM.
Whenever you're playing the eastern side of this circle, that means that you are gunning for kills. The teams that are playing towards the center, towards the safety, they're just wanting to go ahead and have a position that they can hold. But not a lot of kills. HQ hasn't been able to stack up much, neither has Atletico. But these guys on the eastern part of this circle are just constantly scrapping. Rumbler's getting eliminated there. Cherry Poppins does get spotted out, but TSM and a Freak of Freaks Fatal are right up next to each other, trying to crest this hill, going a little bit of a peak battle.
Looks like AFF is going to pull off of this just a little bit. They realize TSM does have the better position here, but they can only pull back so far because AHQ is just downhill, hitting shots at their rear.
Everybody's just trying to play this out, figure out, okay, it's kind of a cat and mouse game. So peek out, see where everybody's at, then go for another reposition, because you never want to peek the same spot twice. Not in this lobby. That is the easiest way to die.
5 4-man squads still up. HQ is the only one with 3.
So we have HQ that's holding that. Looks like Freak starting to reposition back down. Detonator and TSM starting to get sight lines back towards each other, but still kind of more of a difficult terrain back towards the east because that hill is still predominantly inside of play. But back down towards the lowlands, nobody really has those clear sight lines until they have to start moving into this circle. It's just going to be people cresting up, and you can see that's how come Freaks is just trying to bounce from terrain piece to terrain piece while covering each other.
Looks like TSM, knowing that AFF is to their south, might be trying to wrap up to the north here. Little do they know Detonator is ready and waiting. Isco going to take the shots, and that's going to be Rory going down to Wicked and flushed immediately, as now Aqua 5 is traded out by Ira.
You can see there's just no cover along this path for either one of these teams. They know they have to annihilate. One of them has to come out as the king of this fight. Aqua 5 still down back behind that. Gustav managing to stay alive off of this, but he is cowering behind the thinnest tree I have ever seen inside of PUBG and somehow clinging to life.
All it needs is to block 1 bullet. That's all we need it for. Aqua 5 does get res. Detonator up to 6 kills now. Michael has made it across the street, but Gustav and Ira still have to make their way across.
Oh, got to be careful when you're throwing those grenades around those trees. Sometimes they can bounce off of those tree limbs and catch a different angle for it. See Detonator still just trying to hold this out. Isco's trying to see if he can go for a peek onto it, but there's just damage coming in from multiple angles.
There we go.
Nice grenade coming out from Michael. Going to go ahead and get the drop onto him. You can see TSM starting to feel more control of this fight, getting a little bit more aggressive onto it. Aqua 5 still looking around the lower end of this, but no clear sight lines back over towards TSM. This is a lot of utility being used by TSM, but they have got to do it. They have to figure out how they want to play around this, but that hill is stopping everything. Now shots coming out from Freaks as they're looking back on the similar angle for it. They have a line back over towards Detonator and TSM, and they see all those smokes.
Ira was absolutely huge in that push for TSM, but unfortunately the res do come out for Detonator. Isco looks like he might bleed out now, as AFF just going to take shots through the smoke. Yeah, Isco has gone down.
Everybody can see each other in this valley
Yeah,
now. Once these smokes start to dissipate and people run out of utility, it's just going to be shots going back and forth everywhere. Detonator still playing up towards the top of this, but you can see TSM still looking around for it. We have a freak fatal that can look off of this angle, and everybody has to be so cautious. Everybody is just behind 1, maybe 2 trees for the entirety of their team. Kari stepping up to one side of it, going for the spray, doesn't get the drop onto it, still just trying to hold back anything he can. Starting to move along this line. TSM now finding themselves in a rough spot as multiple teams are starting to take shots at him as their smoke dissipates, and yes, TSM is eliminated.
Unfortunate for the boys from TSM, but really what else could they do? They were pinned from every which angle. Athletico, you could see, trying to come in here and get a third party onto this, but they're going to get pushed back a little bit, but not before getting it down on Aqua 5.
He keeps getting dropped, and that just means he's going to take out even faster. So you can see Wicked tossing out the grenades, trying to get a little bit more space. Atletico's going to have to make a little bit of a push back over towards their last member. Got a little bit of a building
push from AFF
play, so it's a lot of these teams starting to get aggro. They want those third parties, they want those kills. AFF starting to come back down behind this, not playing it too aggressive as of yet, but the res is coming through. If you can see Freak spot this out, this is going to be easy kills. There's 1, 2 down already, but the spin comes back around on the angle. Wicked's down, still on that low ground position, and really cannot provide the support he so desperately needs to.
Levi's from Sting Divine actually getting involved there. As we see NN and Shadow trying to pull off of this, they realize that they have now gotten into the line of sight of the Sting Divine squad. Wicked, can he get the res here? It doesn't look like it. That circle's pushing in. Hikari's probably just dropping some meds for him.
Looks like they just want to go for it, get the flush out, get that extra point. Pushes them up to 9 kills now. Getting a little bit feisty back down towards the south as it's going to be Sting Divine and HQ taking a couple of shots while we still have a Freaka taking those shots back over towards Wicked. Not a lot of cover pieces to play off of, and there you go. Detonator's going to go ahead and go out in 5th place, but now you can see Atletico starting to spread out inside the circle, trying to get more control. All these teams are burning so much utility. Nicky's looking back over towards AHQ. Still, he's the only one that's still up for his team right now, and Shadow is just cutting a path straight over towards Atletico. Grenades starting to come out as they move into that range. That's one member from Atletico already down and flushed.
Yeah, Sting Divine was 4 strong, but seconds ago, but a combination of Atletico and AHQ has now run him down to just Nicky. He's got 26 health. Healing in the smoke. A Freak of Freaks trying to move in here. They're playing the angles, staying out of the line of sight of Atletico for now. It's down to just 3 to the boys from Oceana.
Creep crawl right now. You can see Freaks just a little bit more info. Nicky's holding that line, but he's going to go ahead and get dropped, and that moves us down to 3 teams remaining. AHQ back down towards the south, Afrika over towards the east, and Atletico with a big chunk that they're trying to hold down, but Extreme does get tapped off of this. He is right on the edge of the blue there, so trying to figure out what they can do. I think the Flood's trying to move into a position to see if maybe he can get grenade range. Does manage to get Shadow down, and look, the moment he drops, Extreme starts going for the run on this. That's going to be Freaks getting taken down. Now it's Atletico looking back over towards AHQ as Flood has spotted them out.
3v3 set up here. AHQ finally having to leave their compound. They did take care of Sting Divine. They're trying to get into a spread formation here, but SR and CC already being taken out. You can see multiple lines of sight here as they are just trading shots back and forth. Nobody can get any flanking position here without the other team seeing them.
It's just clear sight lines back and forth. People playing around trees, trying to kind of reposition as much as they can without getting spotted, seeing if maybe they can get a different angle on the person hiding behind the tree on this. Nobody has control of what would be the center of the next circle as everybody, there's no terrain really that is easy to move through, so it's gonna be the blue forcing these fights here in just a second.
CCSR, Yan Lee haven't had the best of days so far today, but they were currently sitting in 8th place coming into this. Now they've set themselves up for a big win here on the last game on Erangel if they can pull it off. But Atletico, some strong fraggers. We've seen what these guys can do at the GLL Slam. Can they pull it off here at PGC?
That's a confidence play. You can see SR sitting on the sniper rifle. I guess living up to his name. When your name is SR, I feel like you got to run the bolt at this point. But this is very close range. We'll have to see if it actually ends up capitalizing. As on the other team, it's DMRs. We have the ARs out. Everybody's getting ready for those close range fights. Extreme knows where SR is, but that's a very dangerous peak to take off the side of that, as they'll make him vulnerable from the other players of HQ.
One issue right now for Atletico is they have nothing but really soft cover. They've got angles that they can work and hills that they can play around, but the boys from AHQ have hard cover. They have the trees, they have the rocks. You can see CC getting taken down a little bit low, but he has somewhere that he can hide now to get that heal off.
All right, 10 seconds. The blue's going to start forcing everyone to move, and this blue is going to tick for a ton of damage. CC is probably the closest to the blue right now, and you can see Atletico trying to creep forward an extra foot or two to see if they can make sure that HQ moves before they do. Yan Lee, I think, is probably the closest towards the center, but that also makes him in the most dangerous spot. Smokes are coming out everywhere on HQ side now. That's going to be a wall to provide more cover. They're starting to move in towards that centralized location. Yan Lee's starting to feel a little bit more pressure as grenades are bouncing around him, but due to the smoke wall that's come down, CC's trying to get those shots off to the side of it. Yan Lee still having to use that tree. Once these smokes start dissipating, he could be in a lot of trouble. He's just trying to get any grenade he can off, trying to stop the push coming out. Atletico still playing the high side, but now Yan Lee decides he's going to go aggressive, try to walk up onto this. He's just going to walk on the side of the tree. That's going to be one of them. He does manage to get dropped. He's going to go for the flush. Now we're in a 2v3. Flood looking back over towards the tree. That's another one for Yan Lee. Is he going to be able to stack up another one? Flood is all by himself now, looking back towards 3 members of AHQ. He is surrounded. The grenade's going to roll down, and that is AHQ walking away with the win.
That is the cleanest 3v3 that you'll ever see here, as AHQ just absolutely took Atletico to school. Unbelievable play. Great working the angles. Arguable that Extreme may have caught himself a little bit out in the open there with no smokes, no cover, no anything. And he just got kind of roasted, but you know, can't take anything away from the Atletico squad. They come in here with 4 kills and a 2nd place finish, which is something that they desperately needed as they were sitting in 13th place going into this.
That's why I love military-based games. They're so just good to watch. There's so many repositions, especially when it ends off over towards the west, when everybody's having to play around those hills. God, it's just so fun to watch the top teams play in a very hard environment.
Yeah, I mean, you saw some of the great mechanical skills of these players that we have here today on full display. I mean, some of the shots on the Samty and Jempty from the bridge were just nuts. I mean, with the DMR.
That is so crazy coming out from Indigo. That was a very long range. I would say probably, what, maybe 250 meters, somewhere around there?
Well, there's a reason that Indigo was the PKL MVP. And I mean, shots like that are a reason why.
Now, here's the thing, though. We see the fact that yesterday, Ace was so great. We know that Force is good, and the desk alluded to it. I wonder how much pressure that now puts on them, that they feel like they need to be such a dominant force. They come away third position there. They get 6 kills. Not a bad start to it. They're feeling a lot more comfortable. But now we're moving into Sandhawk. And when we talk about, I don't know, military-based games being a little bit chaotic, Sandhawk, that's where everything just comes off the rails and it moves real fun, real fast.
Just a little bit chaotic. Just a little bit, but you know, I mean, if nothing else, this game was fairly chaotic in and of itself, just with having to make some split-second decisions, especially with the hillside to play.
Well, I can see the analyst desk over there. They're talking back and forth. They want to talk about this game, so we're going to go ahead and throw it to the Glorious and the rest of everybody on that analyst desk.
That's right, AHQ, after dominating PUBG Masters League in their region, constantly first and second places all year long, gets themselves the first victory on the board here for PGC. Good to see AHQ getting that. My money was a little bit on Atletico. Bold prediction, I thought they were going to get top 3 for quite a while during that game. It turns out they did. However, AHQ put a stunt in their plans a little bit.
They did. A big shout out to this team coming out of Chinese Taipei. I think they really have stepped up here. It was kind of a tale of two teams. I feel like online these guys have been good. They go to LAN, they sort of underperform. And part of that is I feel like they don't respect their opponents sometimes. They play a little pell-mell. But I think that worked in their favor on this one. That push against Atletico was sort of like throwing caution to the wind. They just came forward. They said, we're going to take the aggressive push on this 3v3. And you could see Ath was caught off guard when they got that flanking move. And I think it worked.
I mean, Yanliko going out with the Ironside M4 actually in the last fight. That just shows how little they actually looted before they went over to the military island and then took themselves in a good position there.
Yeah.
They did take it very passive though, until towards the end there when STV was basically next to them.
In my opinion, Atletico should have pushed a bit earlier to take the advantage to their side instead. It ended up in a 3v3 in the end. If they had pushed maybe out earlier, third party some of the fights, they could have had a bigger advantage. I know one of them tried, he got out in an off position and died early, but obviously you have to try to do something like that to open up the fight and put the advantage on your side.
It's time for the highlights here for our game 3 for the day when it comes to Erangel. And Avenger, normally when I ask you about, you know, these games and how they do go down, where you want your circle to be, at PEL you say
Millie.
That's what you like. And you got it for the first time here this tournament.
Yeah, it's good to see. Now we got one, so we don't want to see too much many more. But I like this one. This is it's good to see.
Yeah, definitely so. So let's take a look at those highlights now as we get into everything. So here we go. And obviously a lot of teams have a little bit of a harder time trying to get over to that position. But for Sun Sister at the start of the fight, it was all right.
I mean, they shot out the tire here. Lazarus did the best with what they could in that situation. They didn't expect to get caught on this road. Remember, it was a military shift, so they didn't expect 4 people to be sort of waiting for this late rotation in the Jeep. Fortunately, they had some players already in boats, and they ended up getting taken down.
Boris, thoughts?
Overall, yeah, as you said, unfortunate for Lazarus. Also unfortunate for Liquid. They got taken out here. Very nice shots here from Lugon. Nice reactions time. But overall, we saw the center compound on the top hill being very open for a long time. Again, Atletico was on the western side for a very, very long time. Just chilling out there, passive. They should have prepped with third party this fight. This fight here, DTN against the Afrika Freaks, they should have third party. They try to get some points from that as well.
They were on their way to actually third party that, but they decided, let's fall back. It's not worth it. We see the new circle, want to make ourselves get into a good, better position first.
And it's that flank we were talking about as Yanli comes around and finds them in an offside. They make it a 3v2, and there's just no cover left once he takes that solo tree that was so important. But you're right, they had the push potentially. They could have third partied, but I think it was the right call for Atletico to say, you know what? This circle, the way it came back to the hard edge, we can guarantee a top 2 and maybe a win if we just fall back and we play as 3, and I respect that. But again, AHQ, 7 kills, comes out, gets a nice big win. These guys, particularly CC and SR, have been playing together for over a year now. It's got to feel good to get this win on the big stage.
One of the biggest organizations in their region, a very, very storied organization indeed. Let's take a look at how that plane went, as well as where everybody was dropping. It's going to be interesting to see overall how people were able to rotate, moving on to Military Island, of course, because it is a little bit tough sometimes to traverse to. We saw a little bit of fighting here or there, some of the crossroads.
I mean, as we start, I want to point out where AHQ's drop point is all the way on the north side of this map. So for them to come out with the win on such a difficult rotation, not easy. And look how they did it.
They went to Prim, they took a boat, and they went down on the southwest side of Military. And they just chilled there for a while. They didn't need to actually do anything because the circle kept on going towards the west side.
Their first rotation was on point here. African Freaks, they're all over the place.
They work for it.
And yeah, they work for it. And that talks to how well they're able to maneuver around this. Their macro is on point, and that's what's going to put them through this group stage.
What I loved about African Freaks at the very beginning was their very late drop, but mostly late actual drop with the parachute, just to be able to adapt to the circle.
He pulled the parachute early to get some overviews. Anybody Novo? No, we want to go there. Send 2 guys there early to take control, and then they had the whole eastern side to themselves.
Well, TSM, they sent over Michael straight away as well. And Lambo, though, since he was in the parachute, he had all that information. He relayed that to the team, and we also saw the others coming in with boats later on.
You got to remember, they've been changing up their drops. They're doing different things. They're playing flexible, and it seems to be working as we get a chance to look here at the overall match results.
Absolutely. 17 points coming in for AHQ here. So big points pushing them up the leaderboard as Detonator, Africa Freaks, Fatal, and Atletico all get themselves double digits here. Rumblers, 9 points for them, 8 kills coming in.
You know, I think Rumblers is probably, there's a good chance they're right there on the cusp and might likely advance because this is what they're doing. They're not getting the placement, but they're putting up good kill counts consistently. And we're going to maps, in particular Miramar, where their style of play really fits.
And I'm excited to see them now. But going into Sanok, it sounded I talked to them and it sounded like they're going to be having their drop spots to themselves. They expect to be contested, so they might be able to play that kind of Smash Mouth style and get some more kills from this map here.
I want to see what Liquid is going to do.
Yeah.
We know that people want to drop on them in boot camp. At the same time, they did leave Pachinki. So, I mean, what's going to happen? They haven't done anything yet.
I think they'll drop in the area, maybe on Quarry area in general.
Yeah, probably somewhere in that area. I mean, the reality is they have 1 point. 3 games in on a 6-game day. I mean, Team Liquid.
Yesterday, Tempo showed up and
had more than one.
On Sanok? On Miramar. On the last 3 maps, they really showed up strong.
And hopefully they do. I just am saying this is shocking.
I see what Avenger's doing. He's trying to rationalize the poor performance of Team Liquid.
No. There's no excuses. They have to start showing up now, or they have to come back tomorrow and try again.
I mean, I don't think anybody would have predicted after 3 games Team Liquid would have had 1 point here for us.
Well, you can see that they changed up their game. They don't drop at their normal spot, but at the same time, military games, their signature move is to move around 2.5 to 3 minute mark. They're already crossing the West Bridge. That did not happen in this game. They were super late and kind of stuck on the West Bridge.
We've been to a lot of qualifiers over the course of the last 2 years where teams have chosen poor man Pachinki in a ruined split because everything else was taken. Those teams very rarely make it to the final round or perform well there. So I think Liquid will hopefully survive. They've got the skill, right? I think we're going to see them next weekend, but they've got a lot of thinking to do.
A little bit of a letdown so far by Team Liquid, but something that is never a letdown is the SSDs powering the PGC, brought to you by HyperX. Feels like that. We enjoy it here for PGC. So thank you very much to join us on this journey as we have plenty more games and plenty more action coming at you, brought to you in part by HyperX. They are our kill leaders to get things going as well for day number 2. And so far, 4 a.m. is popping off.
Xiaolu, 9 kills. One thing that is surprising me is actually Rory coming in down second place with 8 kills. He's typically not the fragger on TSM, but the other guys are.
He's the support player. Usually he's playing the back line. He's making sure that everything is in order, and the other guys are the scouters. They're staying in the front. Here, him to get ace kills is very nice to see. I'm happy for Rory to pull up with this.
I think that speaks to the way this game has been going. They've been getting backstabbed a lot. They've seen late rotations from teams coming out of the blue. So in this situation, your back support man has to also be your fragger because he's playing defense.
And here we have a look at our damage leaders as well. Gustav is a name that we're not uncommonly seeing when it comes to the top damage overall. We see it a lot in PEL.
He's definitely not one of our unfamiliar faces. He's also recognized as probably one of the best players in the world. Also being able to IGL and frag out. Not a lot of IGLs are capable of doing that.
You know, a long time ago, he tried out with FaZe before AT sort of joined the team. And I remember having a conversation with Mixie, and he said, I think Gustav's got one of the best upsides of any young player coming out of Europe right now. He's just not right for our team. And it's been cool to see him join TSM and develop so aggressively well.
The upside is he's Danish, right? Is that?
Yeah, it's a big upside, obviously. He's only, and also, he's only 20 years old. This guy, he literally just turned 20 years old. He's such a talent.
What is so good with Gustav is that not only being the IGL, but also being able to frag out and do a lot of damage. This is something we need to see from more IGLs. We have some that is a little bit more passive, but we're starting to see more and more IGLs that is able to make good calls, but also frag out.
On the opposite side of that, we saw K-Mind. It's going to be an interesting conversation to have as Genesis has been underperforming. And K-Mind said on his stream a couple days ago, he's looking for a chance to go play in Europe, so he's trying to make a good name for himself here during this tournament.
Africa Freaks Fatal with Lambo and Shadow also finding themselves a decent amount of knocks. And Africa Freaks Fatal, especially in that first game, were kind of really greeting and dominating a lot of the teams that they had to actually fight against there. So I think a lot of it probably comes from that. But when we look at their results so far, a 2nd place, we have a 8th place, and then moving on a 3rd place.
Yeah.
They're doing very well for themselves.
With 6 kills on the 3rd, so like they're putting up big numbers. They're representing themselves very, very well. And I think they're adjusting their splits to this new, more aggressive, frenetic style of the international play.
I really like how they're playing the edge play and actually splitting up a lot.
Yeah.
And they're choosing, all right, we want to take this fight, we don't want to take that one. But they can take double fights sometimes. They fight against 2 teams at the same time, which is not optimal, but they make it work.
Look at Lou. 5 headshots, like head and shoulders above everybody else in terms of his stat. He's been putting up huge numbers. He's doing a great job of overwatching for his team. And Fargerman has, like you said, let's keep an eye on him today when we got here, Kyle. They're doing great.
3 heads and shoulders, in fact, above
3 heads. 3 heads.
If you think about it.
Yep, exactly.
That's how that's going to go. Well, moving on to Sandhog next here, boys. It's an exciting time as we have the plane almost ready to go between all of our teams. Who are we looking out for on Sandhog, boys?
I am looking out for what happens with Liquid, right? I think boot camp is a crappy drop anyway. But the question for me is, how do they adjust? Can they pick up some points? And can they start the big push?
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Time to go to game number 4 of the day here for PGC day number 2, Group 2. Let's get into it. Let's go, commentators.
Thank you so much, Kalaris. Didn't ask me, but I'll go ahead and say, team I want to keep an eye on. More for Angry Men.
More for
Angry Men. I want more of that. They're just so fun to watch.
They are. I mean, look, they've had a phenomenal day so far, 33 points overall. And, you know, all on air goal. So, you know, they're in a position now that where they can feel a little bit more comfortable. And usually when we see teams in a position where they feel comfortable, we see them start fragging out even.
And one thing I do want to note, I need somebody to clip what was going over there on the analyst desk whenever they said, hey, Team Liquid just needs to be more like Tempo Storm. I come back for it. So, yeah, I'll take that one. That's a moral victory for me. But there we go. We've got Detonator. These guys have been on fire. They get aggressive, and they are walking away with a ton of kills.
Yeah, and these, you know, another team that you have to keep an eye on when it comes to Sandhog. They have been known to pick up a bunch of kills and wins here. They are on the cusp, along with Sun Sister.
And we've been seeing Sun Sister play very aggressive. I like this Sun Sister in the way.
Yes, this is a Sun Sister that we've never seen before. And again, you know, looking at teams on the cusp, number 9 right now, Lazarus. All 3 of those teams, all with 15 points. The only thing separating them is total kills. Right now in 10th place, we have the Rumblers. In 11th, we have Genesis, both, and then Atletico in 12th, all with 14 points. So this is how close things are right here on the cusp line.
So here we go. We're making our way over towards Sandhog. So let's go ahead and get that plane up and in the air. It's Sandhog. I mean, you can drop wherever you want to on this, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's not far out.
I'll tell you who my eyes are on. Sting Divine.
Those guys,
Sting Divine has been coming to play today.
I'm going to be trying to see if Lazarus loses another member before the second circle finish.
Yeah.
They've been having a rough go in the early game.
They've been definitely having the air angle for the early game was not so great for them, but we'll have to see if things turn around here. They are predominantly known as more of a Miramar team, so maybe the second half of the day will serve them better.
They actually perform quite well on Sandhog as well, so we'll have to see how this plays out. Spread's coming through. A couple of teams look like they're making their way over towards the northwestern part of, well, northwestern island, I should say. Sun Sister doing a very large split. Look at that. They were spread all across this, but let's just go ahead and make Paradise Resort a feisty little place. We're going to have Lazarus and AHQ. Lazarus talking about the fact that they keep losing members early, dropping next to a team that just won a game. Not the good way to go.
So they're actually bailing off of this too. Uncivil rather, is going to get on out of dodge. The rest of his squad providing him a little bit of support from range. Worth noting also, boot camp, all Genesis. Liquid has decided to go over on the western side of the northwestern island.
Oh,
that's actually going to pay off pretty nice for him.
Okay, players are going to start hating me because I like the evil circles, and apparently we get 2 evil circles to go here. So it's going to be way up towards the north, with boot camp just barely being inside this circle. So a lot of water naturally to the north, and also with the rivers.
Yeah, another team that that actually is going to be feeling pretty good about this. Look at Crow Crowd up there on the north side, all very, very split. They could find themselves coming up with a nice little stack of points here, find themselves back in the conversation. As we check in on Freak of Freaks Fatal. They're just to the south of Rumblers. Looks like they are going to be working south of this more so than through the Rumbler squad.
I love the way the Freaks play. They get very aggressive. They try a third party, and it's been performing for them, but it also causes a little bit of trouble as they often find themselves in a third party that follows the third party they started.
Yeah, you know, another interesting thing about this map, nobody in Painan.
That is kind of interesting.
Painan was
usually very contested.
Yeah, that was extremely contested yesterday. I believe we had FaZe and Tempo both kind of heading over towards that.
Silzen, you better be careful. Forever's just jumping around the top of these roofs on the hunt, looking for anything that he can spot. I'm pretty sure he's aware that somebody dropped next to him, so be very careful. Did he spot him through that tree? You can see he instantly stopped off of it. Silzen's going to walk through this. There's going to be a vector and a bolt action to go back and forth to get this thing started. Silzen doesn't even seem to know. That's going to be one tap to get it started with. Now Silzen just playing back behind the tree. Look, Harold already on the move to come back over here and provide a little bit of support. Silzen has to be very cautious. He's going to go ahead and try to run to another rock. That's another hit coming up from Forever. Well, making his way down that hillside. But look, Wayless is going to be coming back up behind this. Silzen's got reinforcements over towards the north, but it's going to be Wayless that's going to be coming over towards the west that could cause the biggest problem for him. Forever's playing this so aggressive, just jumping back down into his face. Not even a real big care on this. Now finally starting to hear the reinforcements coming. He goes, okay, now you got some friends. I'll pull back away from this for a second.
You had 2 chances to land a headshot there, Forever. You missed both of them. You got the body, so now you have to deal with the repercussions here.
Wayless has got that other position on this, so they can still choose to play this a little aggressive. The other 2 members of 4 AM not in a position to really provide any reinforcement as of yet. So Silzen's kind of taking that back position. You can see everybody on double click is like, where's he even at right now? They're kind of trying to figure out where he moved to, but Wayless is playing this very patient, down, not trying to collect any information, just letting Forever pull away from this. And I like it, get a little bit of aggression out early, but Wayless thinks that he has the opportunity, takes the shots over towards Harold, but does not get him down. The retaliation comes out big from Silzen there, so getting a little bit of vengeance back onto it. Meanwhile, it's North America versus North America. We never see this at internationals, but looks like Uncivil's going to try to retreat back away from this, and he was kind of separated away from the rest of his friends, but Wayless, you can see, does manage to take down and flush Harold in the kill feed.
Civ just barely getting out of there in time, but he's going to have to stop and pull up at the rock now. Can he get support from the rest of his squad? It looks like Luke and Purdy are both content with staying inside of their homes. Uncivil is just going to have to be on his own right here. He does get a peek at H-Win there, but not going to take the shots.
Nobody else on Lazarus is really in a good point to actually provide any form of reinforcement for him, so he's probably just going to hang out here for as long as he can and hope that maybe Genesis decides to rotate somewhere else. Otherwise, him and this rocker are going to probably become friends for quite a while.
Yeah, you can tell Genesis not really wanting to take too much of a piece of this either. As you see TSM Michael going to get the down onto Aqua 5 from Detonator. That's a fight going up on near the bridge.
This goes down as well. Gustav's trying to play a low position. He's got that vector out in close range. Wicked's got the grenade up, trying to cook it as much as he can. And look, Gustav just runs into it. That's the way you handle a grenade. Just run it right by. That's some good play coming out from TSM as look at this. Detonator is on their last legs. They've got a lot of damage to come out their way. Grenades go out to the wrong smoke. Molotov's just going to go ahead and take that one down. But you can see Michael's playing the backside of this, trying to find the outside angle for it. Aqua 5 does get some meds off, but now it's going to be Iroh walking down to this. One member of Detonator alive right now, and it's Aqua 5 who's just trying to cling to life on that boat, and he gets dropped.
TSM is so damn confident right now. As you can see, they are just pushing into everything, and they just made Detonator, one of the best teams in Korea, look like an absolute joke. Force
lose 2 members to QM very, very quickly, and now they're just trying to run away. Headshot connects onto Kale, trying to make it along that hillside, but now it's just Doa in a really bad spot.
See, he's just kind of looking over the top, see if he can spot out ahead from Doya. Not going to peek that. Those we taking the replay from 4 Angry Men's Forever. Can he get a shot on it? Oh, that's a quick scope on Harold.
Nice. Rid of it. Starting to see a little bit more bolt action come into play. We were expecting a lot of DMR, but a couple of these players just feel it's really strong right now and trying to commit over to it. And so you can see guys from Liquid, they heard this fight going on. Looks like they're contemplating third-partying it. Finally getting themselves into a position, trying to catch TSM in the exact same spot that Detonator was just a second ago. There's not a lot of cover to be had on this. Look at the split coming out from Liquid. Nice shots coming out from James. Going to go ahead and force Iroh back behind that hillside.
Yeah, it kind of makes you kind of wonder if Drassel's performance yesterday on the boat for Ghost, or on the bolts for Ghost, might have opened the doors a little bit for some of these other teams to give it a whirl. We see Rory is operating with the M24 there.
I like this. They have Iroh just trying to provide a little bit of reinforcement. A couple of repositions coming up from Team Liquid, trying to get higher ground. Gustav does get spotted out, crawling through that smoke, but he is not long for this world as he's just going to go ahead and go down there. So now, ooh, somebody's excited inside there. I think that was the retaliation kill coming back over.
Now Liquid's got 2 points. You get twice as excited as we have been.
Oh. You're going to go there already, for
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
All right, so we got a fight breaking out. Got Kale under fire here. These does get raised off, but Kale's in a lot of trouble. He's just trying to bounce from tree to tree. QM's trying to hold him back right now. 4 Angry Men's back behind this as well if they choose a third party, but I'm probably going to bisect around it. Kale's got to be so cautious. Another grenade lands back behind him, but he's just kind of going for the peek. Every single peek, he just gets retaliation. Nice shot coming out. That's what you need in this position, but there's so many members of QM around these 2 members. That's going to be a grenade that takes them down. Now down to 1. Force is now finding himself in a very difficult position. What do they choose to do at this point? And Sting Divine's in a boat. They just opted in like, hey, you guys all fight over this. We're just going to go ahead and hang out. Just look back down towards the beach. And
sure, why not?
There goes Kale. Sunset's taking a couple shots as well.
I mean, you got an AFF is still down at the very south part of the map with the Blues. A lot of
okay. We see you, Sun Sister. I like it. That's some nice connecting shots. Go ahead and make themselves up a kill.
He shot him from space.
It really did. This is like artillery being called down to roll. Sting Divine, they're like,
the boat is on fire.
Doya is moving into an aggressive position over towards QM. We talked about, this is a long wait that they're having to do.
They know he's here.
How's he going to do this? He's laying down. They have to assume he's right on the other side of this rock. And I think that they realize, no, let's play this a little bit safer. Trying to move around. Going to walk in the line side. Gets one of them. Can he get anything else?
Ooh.
Does not manage to complete the flush. Gets enough damage off to at least make him sweat, though.
Super close. He almost got the flush off there on easy, but unfortunately, just 1 bullet too short.
Oh, hey, Sting Divine. Guess who's that? That's right next to you. That's going to be Sun Sister, and that's feeling pretty good and hanging out in that position now. Sting Divine did manage to get themselves into a nice spot, but that split coming out from Sun Sister is what actually got them that kill. You can see that there's 3 members here, but they have Kendesu way over towards the northeast that was playing along the coastline.
Yeah, I mean, the shots from Kendesu were the ones that, I mean, he almost blew up the damn boat. I mean, he was landing everything with that QBU. I mean, we talked about the QBU yesterday about how these teams, have such a high opinion of it, and you can see why. They are just lasering people.
So Sun Sister, I think that they're aware of where Sting Divine stopped at based off of the information from Kendesu. So he's still just trying to encroach in that area, trying to contain them. You can see, look at this. This is just a trap waiting to be sprung the moment that Sting Divine has to move. There is no access point out for them unless they opt into swimming, and then they're as good as dead.
Yeah, this is peak Sandhawk, really. Just players lying prone on the hillside, waiting to see if they can see any hint of audio cue or head.
Looks like Turtle has an idea that maybe something could be going off on some of these different angles, but they're playing this so defensively, they're not getting a lot of information. So if they move out of this point, they feel like, okay, we took the long rotate around, somebody took some shots at us, but we're safe. We're on ground now. They're still a little bit hesitant looking around. And I told you, man, okay, has he named that rock yet? At this point, they're just like best friends. I think he did drop his backpack too. They're just hanging out. This is just his home. What's funny is 2 of the Genesis members actually have moved past him, so you can see he's actually surrounded by Genesis right now.
Yeah, that was a move that happened just recently. Is now Liquid's going to be trying to push into TSM. Iroh going to take a few shots over the top, but he's not going to find it. He's going to try to pull off of this as Rory and Michael are in a position to really get some support.
This is too late. Iroh's just going to get sprayed down. Lots of damage coming back towards him. He's not going to get knocked out of the vehicle as of yet. Manages to use the hillside. Shots are going to be coming through, provide a little bit of cover for him, so somehow he makes it out of that. I thought he was dead.
Rory saved his life. That was clutch shots there coming from his teammate. You see Iroh going to get down to about half health. He's going to go ahead and heal up with Michael.
Okay. Man, nice headshot coming out from Michael there. Team Liquid, they're in some trouble right now. I don't know what's going on with it, but they're getting shot from Rumblers back behind them. They have TSM up in front of them. There's not a lot of places they can play at this point. Rumblers have a good sign line back behind them. You can see they've already had to drop smokes. They're moving vehicles out. Jimpy's just playing back behind that tree right now. This is full-on damage control coming out from Team Liquid as they're just trying to get away from this and at least get to some safe point.
Where are my Bolt boys? In the chat, we can see them. They're showing up in the kill feeds and the knock feeds. As we see the Rumblers still taking shots over it towards Liquid. Look like Liquid should be able to get out of this.
Well,
now it's empty though.
I think
a little
TSM's
bit
looking
trouble.
back down towards him right now, like, you know, hey, maybe we can get this. There's at least going to be another. Sting Divine decided that they were going to go ahead and walk towards Sun Sister, but we were going to let you know how that was going to go down, and I don't think that you missed much except for a nasty bloodbath of death and destruction. But all right, so you got TSM's Rory looking back over towards the top of this hill, down towards Jimty. Knows that there might be somebody here, but with the vehicle moving, they might not know that one's sitting there. Oh, Rumblers, they're going full on Navy SEALs right now. They're just swimming back down behind this and waiting to pounce. And with this fight being so close range, I don't know if anybody, look, you can see it on the minimap right now. Nobody's really looking that direction. Finally, I think they glanced that direction and might have spotted him out. 4AM has one member down up towards the top of the hill, and it looks like a Freak of Freaks Fatal might be going aggressive.
There we go. The shots coming out from AFF. They push forever behind the rock, forever going to take that Car 98 shot back out there. That grenade's going to come well short there.
Okay, we talk about profiling sometimes when you're at the top of a hill. We have Forever standing on top of a rock with not a care in the world, just taking those shots back down towards a Freak of Freaks Fatal right now. That grenade lands, forces Style to move away from the res and instead go over next to the rock and try to go for meds. Lampu's just trying to crawl to safety. The Blues coming in right back behind him. 4 Angry Men has the high ground position onto a Freak of Freaks Fatal right now, and that's... I mean, just run. No, he's just going over there and grabbing meds, being like, "Thanks, bro. I'm out of here. You will not die in vain," and just trying to get away from this position.
R.I.P. And we see Sun Sister actually wrapping around from the north side here. Check in on the Rumblers. They have made landfall. Liquid Jempty try to send a few shots their way. Microfry is going to get taken out by a nice shot from Avitha. Is Jempty going to take a few more shots before having to make his run? Cherry popping here down to 5.
The Blue's going to get him. He doesn't have a chance to get him.
He doesn't have any more. Oh, he doesn't have any more stims going.
He's trying to get it off, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Nope. He goes ahead and goes down.
Oh,
now,
man.
The other two members of Rumblers did go south of Team Liquid, so it looks like they were trying to catch a trap off, maybe expect Team Liquid to move, but they did not. They just firm defended there, and Los just trying to use a little bit of that bridge for cover.
Cherry's stim dying off at the actual worst time, but that's good news for Liquid here as Jempty has now picked up two free kills.
You know who favors the circle the most right now? Uncivil, because it still doesn't have to move away from his rock.
I mean, the whole rest of his team is just completely abandoned. I mean, so you know what? You like that rock so much, we're going to leave you there.
All right, 4 Angry Men got themselves 2 kills, walking along next to Atletico. They've got Freaks back behind them. Sun Sisters back onto the north of a Freak of Freaks, so it's going to be a pretty congested point. Be funneling along to a similar location. You can see the HQ Lazarus already posted up over there, as well as Pro Crowd. Shots now coming over towards Atletico. That's going to be an easy down and flush come. Angry Men pushes them up to another kill. Now Atletico's like, okay, how do we play this? But keep in mind, Sun Sister is still back behind this on the other side of Atletico.
And they were trying to play the ridge line just below 4 AM to see if they could get away with it, how long they could get away with it. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to be too long, as now Atletico is going to have to turn their attention back towards Sun Sister. But they still are well outside of circle right now, so they have to finish this fight quickly.
Sun Sister taking the shots back down towards them, and just like you were saying, Poro, this is going to create another stall for all of these teams. It's just a wall of teams trying to get into safety as they don't want to be taking this blue damage, and it's so hard. You can see Freaks are like, okay, where do we go? We can't move in this position anymore. Now trying to circle back around towards the north, but that's a much longer rotation. That's going to be Samty getting dropped by Iro. Man, TSM and Liquid are just after each other right now, and Genesis taking a couple of shots. Stream trying to hold the angle. He's going to get dropped off as Sun Sister continues their push right up into Atletico.
I think Flood might be the last one up now for Atletico here. Nope, Zoidmate's still up. Yeah, well, it's of course we have the 2 orange teams fighting each other, because why not? Freaks looks like they're going to just dip on this all together, try to come around the backside of Tapmock here, but W-Click might have had eyes on him.
Nice reposition coming out from Zoidmate, getting up on top of that. But here comes the push in from Sun Sister. Spray onto 1. He does get the drop onto him, but now outside and in the blue zone, it's going to be Flood that's along the outside of this. Is he going to be able to spot the reposition off of 4 Angry Men, still making their push along a similar angle? That's going to be Sun Sister getting eliminated as everybody is just waiting. 4 Angry Men is just taking some shots into this as well, so Atletico is going to die for all that trouble, and that's more kills going back over to 4 AM.
Mutually assured destruction, as 4 AM was in a perfect spot to gatekeep all of this. They had nobody really aggressing upon them. As you can see, AHQ just to the south in a compound, Lazarus in a compound. Everybody's very comfy in their current spots.
I need to get some Fs for Poor Uncivil. Finally got spotted out. Him and his rock forever together from this point forward. But we've got QM looking back over towards AHQ. 2 members of Team Liquid still alive, and 1 member of the Rumblers still alive as well. There was a lot of fighting back over towards the west. New circle has popped in. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we actually got 2 up for the Rumbers as Los has managed to make it to the south side of the compound. Waldo has his own little spot here, so North America still very well represented in this circle. Lots of compounds inside the circle. And again, we talked about them earlier, Crow Crowd still 4 strong up there in Tatma.
But everybody has been fighting around Crow Crowd right now. They haven't had a chance to get in on the fun as of yet. But there's a lot of teams that could be encroaching along that sight line. There's Crow Crowd and Lazarus right next to each other. QM hasn't started their move in because I think that Genesis has been taking those pot shots at him and really slowing them down. And now they have 4 angry men pushing another side. So there's 2 teams that are kind of pincered between these points and trying to figure out, okay, how do we do this? AHQ is trying to find some weak point that they can start to make some type of push. Get some shots over towards Wayless. I guess they figured that's as good as they're going to get. So now going to go ahead and start making that push over towards QM, but QM heard those shots, already looking for the angle and just waiting behind these rocks. They have to move away from the blue themselves, though.
Oh, that was going to be a really tough push for HQ. I figured QM actually had a good spot, but they're going to turn around from it, and that's going to be GYY going down. He's going to try to take the shot back. Milk is going to get him, though.
Nice shots coming out from QM. They're just trying to hold the line now back towards AHQ. That's another member of AHQ down. Just one pushing back over towards this. That's going to be SR trying to creep his way forward. Nobody's inside the safe zone as of yet. There's still 4 members of QM looking back over towards this angle. Spray's going to come out, and AHQ gets eliminated.
QM clutching out that fight. Really well played by them. So we see 4 angry men going to take a few shots. Wayless gets taken extremely low here by Genesis. Genesis finds them all out in the open, and this could be a nice little pickup for them.
Everybody got caught in those fights off to the side. Genesis is fighting a ton of different teams right now, finding themselves in a little bit of a pincered location themselves. TSM taking a couple of shots, but that's actually going to be Crow Crowd taking the shot back over towards Michael and gets the drop onto him.
Yeah, Liquid down to just Sampty now. He's probably got the down on a beast, but it was stolen away by TSM, but now look, oh no, Sampty. Trying to stay alive for a little bit longer.
He's got himself a pretty safe spot. I mean, Poppy can sometimes decide to charge out somewhere. New circle pops, and it does favor TSM and to a degree Crow Crowd. All these teams still back over towards the east, going to have to move yet again, and the bloodbath continues. But look at TSM sitting on 9 kills and pretty happy right now.
TSM looking great right now as Lazarus looks like they tried to push out of their compound to go get involved with 4 AM. Sampty going to stay alive for right now as Profi doesn't want to push up too far and risk going down.
You know, Profi wants to.
Oh, he wants to so bad.
He wants to, but...
yeah, now Kmon's coming over. He's going to say, okay, like, this is a solo up here. We got to clear the snake out. Let's do it together. Make sure that we don't...
Now, the problem with this is going to put them in a vulnerable position over towards TSM if this takes too long. So they're starting to realize, okay, we've just got to make the push if we're going to make the push. But it's so dangerous in Sandhawk whenever you're making these pushes up onto it. Looks like they've decided to opt away from it, already assuming maybe the reposition has come through. That could be very big for Sampty, as now he could just pop up right back behind Genesis and get a couple of knocks off of it. He's going to hear the shots starting to come out back and forth now. You can see Rory starting to get into aggressive position as well. And yeah, Sampty's starting to get a little bit more aggressive in his positioning now, not just hiding back behind that rock, realizing he might have an opportunity here very soon to at least pick up another point. So slowly creeping along the blue. He should have a sight line onto Kmon in just a second. But wins. H1 sees him off to the side, trying to go for the spray onto it. Does get knocked down. Gets a second one. He's out the blue. He has to be cautious, but no, he is going to go down.
But he might have just ruined Genesis's day here as he got 2 of them. And now look at this. Rory's going to push over the top. He's got to be paying attention to that kill feed. He's coming over a little bit quietly. H1 going to come over the top to see if he can maybe prevent the push. Does he see him?
Rory goes for the spray back over to it, and a grenade polishes it off, and Genesis just gets wiped off the map.
In the end, Sampty helping out his regional teammates in TSM as they stay alive. And CC Crow Crowd still 3 up. Purdy Curdy has gone down, so it is an all-EU final 2.
So it's going to be a 3-on-3. TSM hot and ready to go as they have been murdering the world on their path to this point. Crow Crowd able to relax a little bit.
13 kills
looking on this TSM is they're just, look at that. Iroh sitting on 6 right now. Crow Crowd does have themselves 4 kills to play with, but they did just have one of their members drop down due to the blue. He's trying to figure out where is he going to go, trying to use the smokes. That's another one down. Look at Rory's just waiting for him. Already in nice position, just waiting for Crow Crowd to move out of this spot. Up on top of the rock. But look at that. That's going to be some nice shots coming through, but in the end, it isn't going to matter. 15 kills coming up for TSM.
TSM putting on a show today, and Ira putting out a call saying I have eyes on MVP here. I mean, that is 7 kills for Iroh.
I'll admit it, TSM, I wasn't expecting it to be this good for you guys today, and they are performing, though. That there was no circle favor coming into that at all. That was guns a-blazing the whole way through.
That's been TSM's modus operandi all day today, really, is just coming out there, being aggressive, playing the kills. I mean, we may have given a little bit of a grief in game 1 where they got their win because they had, you know, zero kills, a little bit of circle luck, but in the end picking up 6 and getting the win. But this time around, nah, none of that. Well, I mean, we're fragging out, boys.
And the rebound coming up for Team Liquid inside of that. Only 4 kills, but 5th place. It's going to be much better than they were moving into this. They're going to be able to net a couple more points. But
look, you got to start somewhere.
Only 2 games left, and so this has got to be the beginning of their uphill climb on that leaderboard.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and Liquid absolutely having a decent game there. They obviously things not going exactly the way as planned, but considering how the struggles and the troubles that they went through early on, they still managed to keep their couple of players.
Dan kita sambut tim berikutnya, Funny Outlaw Dragons dan Royal Esports.
Dan selanjutnya kita punya tim BCS, BCG, dan RRQ.
Berikan tepuk tangan untuk tim selanjutnya, Victim Rise and Victim Reality. Ya, dan sekali lagi kita berikan tepuk tangan kepada local finals Lenovo Legion of Champions Series 4.